Hello, everyone, and it's almost Thanksgiving here, so happy Thanksgiving. In New York, East Coast, it actually is Thanksgiving. And in this video, I'm going to be going over how to make extremely clickable thumbnails for your Cash Cow YouTube channel. But before we get started, feel free to sign up for my free webinar training down below where I go over your 10 ways to go viral on YouTube. It's absolutely free, and it includes my $5,000 course guarantee, which you do not want to miss. So, with that being said, let us get started. So, in regards to click-through rate, okay, and clickable thumbnails, what is a good average click-through rate? A good average click-through rate, according to YouTube, is 3 to 7%, okay? So that's the average, but you want to be more than average, right? You want really clickable thumbnails that really, trigger the YouTube algorithm and thinking, oh my gosh, why is this video getting a 10% or higher click-through rate? That is the goal that we're aiming for, okay? Ideally, you want a click-through rate over 7%. Ideally, you want to click-through rate over 10%. Now, with that being said, I'm going to introduce to you two types of styles of thumbnails that I almost about 95% of my channels all include, and it's just what really works. So the first style are single scene thumbnails, okay? So I'm going to show you an example. And single scene thumbnails, they look exactly like this. So this is a channel called Viral Vision. This channel is not mine, but you can see that there's basically two main styles of thumbnails that I promote very highly when I teach my students. Okay, we have single scene thumbnails and we have split screen thumbnails. Single scene thumbnails are basically a single image, a single image that attracts viewers to click on it. So this right here, this video that got 8.7 million views, this is a single scene thumbnail. This video that got 4.8 million views is a split screen thumbnail. This one here, I consider this a single scene since we're focusing on a single individual. This is a split screen, this is a single scene, and this is a single scene. Are you starting to see the difference? And here down below in their most recent uploads, this is kind of a blend between the two because it technically is a split screen. Since we're looking from left to right, this is a split screen, this is a single scene. This is a split screen, single scene. So single scene and split screen thumbnails, the reason why they work is because they don't require a lot of thought to understand what's happening in the picture. Take this for example. It's just a single image of Johnny Depp and the text just says save me. You don't need to spend more than 2 seconds to really understand what this video is about. So let's actually pull up more videos here, so you can really get an idea of what we're looking at, okay? Again, another single scene thumbnail. It's just Dave Chappelle. And notice how it's just an image that was taken off Google. I imagine that it was, color corrected, it was brightened up, it was contrasted, so it pops out more. That's what I do with my thumbnails. But the idea here is that it's simply just a single scene in which people can look at the thumbnail and understand what's happening. Now, the other types of thumbnails that I create and I recommend you creating as well are these split screen style thumbnails, okay? Where it shows a left to right sequence. Will Smith is angry at Jada Pinkett. Will Smith on the left, Jada Pinkett on the right. 10 celebrities that defended Will Smith. Justin Bieber on the left, Jada Pinkett Smith on the right. So you see how it goes from a left to right sequence? I've hired thumbnail artists before, and for some reason, they like to include a lot of faces. Like, for some reason, don't include a lot of faces, okay? Ideally, you want to keep it at most 2 individuals, okay? 2 individuals within the thumbnail, because as human beings, we're really drawn to eyes. So when we see this thumbnail, we look at it straight into his eyes and then we read the text. When we see this thumbnail, we look into his eyes and then we see the text. That's just basic human psychology. This is what I learned back in undergrad. So taking from what I learned back in undergrad, I do recommend that you keep it 2 people at most within a thumbnail. All right, 2 people at most. You can kind of push it to 3, but I do not recommend it. I'm not saying it's never going to work, but that's kind of my rule of thumb that I do. Even me, sometimes I do break it, in which I'll include multiple people in a thumbnail like this. But most of the time, I'd make sure I try not to include more than 2 individuals within a thumbnail. But you can see that the majority of these thumbnails here, it's either a single person or it's just 2 people from a left to right sequence, okay? So understanding the difference between a single scene thumbnail and a split screen thumbnail will help you create better thumbnails in the future. I use single scene and split screen thumbnails for practically all niches that I'm in. Boxing, MMA, sports, basketball, football, tech. For tech videos, I use a lot of single scene extravagant images. For TV shows and movies, I use a lot of single scene, contrasty popping out, movie style poster thumbnails, all single scene. So it's just a single image that gets people to click on the video. Celebrities, gossip, split screens work really well. All right. And so that's how I learn from that. Experiment. Okay. Experiment how to make split screen style thumbnails and also single scene style thumbnails. One thing I do want to mention is that, sorry, I should have actually pulled this up for you guys before I started this video, but I'll show you how I contrast or brighten the images or the thumbnails that I create. So we'll start from scratch. So here we are in Photoshop, and you can do this with any editing platform. But here, okay. So here I created a thumbnail on Zion Williamson. But let me kind of pull up a different photo, and I'll show you how I contrast it and make it brighter, okay? So here we are in Photoshop. Oh, that's a bad image. Let me pull up a different one. Okay, that's a better image. And I'm just going to show you how I brighten and make images pop out more. So I'll click on the image here in Photoshop, and then I'll rasterize it. And then I'll click on image, adjustments, brightness and contrast. And my go-to is usually around 16 to brighten up the image. Anywhere from 15 to 20 works. So I'll go around like 16. And then I will go to curves. And I just give it a simple C curve. I usually don't do S curves. All right. And it really helps is that if on Google the image you pull is a good quality image to start off to begin with, the image will turn out better. But because this is already a low quality image to begin with, it's not going to look the best. So that's okay, because I do like this image because it looks like Rihanna's crying. So saturation, I'll include it by 15. But as you can see, the before and after, let's show you. This is the after, this is the before, after, before. And these little subtle changes, I highly promote you do this because it takes you less than 15 seconds to implement this. And this works for, okay, so this is what the image, this is the image that I will choose. And this is the image before. So this is the final image that I actually created. And of course, it's gonna, thumbnails won't ever appear this big on YouTube, but you can see that I use a split screen style thumbnail. I brighten up the image, but the thumbnail will actually just look like this, right? And the idea is that you want the words to pop out. Okay, so this is what I consider a split screen thumbnail, and it follows along the lines here. So in a single scene thumbnail or a split screen thumbnail, you could include words just like this. So this is the overall image or thumbnail that I came up with. Okay, so it's Rihanna crying. It's easy to understand. It's the title of the video is what Rihanna says how A$AP Rocky treats her. So this is a thumbnail that I created, and it's a split screen thumbnail, okay, for people looking from left to right, and a text just to accompany it. Sorry about that, excuse me. I realize that every time I talk on one of these videos, I always seem to get very bloated, and it just happens to be I always create these videos right after dinner. So split screen, single scene thumbnails. If you have any questions down below about it, let me know. Now, in regards to the CTR, there's two parts to achieving a good click-through rate. You have the thumbnail, which I talked about. Really decide whether you're going to create split screen or single scene thumbnails, and obviously you can test out both. You know, see what works for your niche. For TV shows, again, I do recommend single scene. For celebrities, I do recommend split screen. For tech, I noticed that single scene works really well. For sports, single scene or split screen works really well. So tying to the CTR, you have the thumbnail, which we went over, but the next part is the title. So criteria for titling your videos. When you title your videos, it really helps to kind of have two opposing sides. So tying back to our example, you can see that this channel does very well in terms of having two opposing sides to the topic. So we have, okay, so we'll start here. So this Johnny Depp thing is versus Amber Heard. Johnny Knoxville versus Bam Margera. Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Johnny Depp versus cancel culture, celebrities in general. So this is celebrities and James Franco against Amber Heard. Steve-O reacting to Bam. But do you see how there's two opposing sides to a lot of these videos? That's kind of like a good cookie cutter idea of a topic to go towards. So Angelina defends Johnny Depp against Amber Heard. So it's Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Jake Paul responds to Tyrone Woodley. So it's Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley. So do you see again how in these titles it shows two people kind of on opposing sides? Okay, that's what works really well when it comes to titling your videos. And in addition, also use a verb. So Dave Chappelle responds. Dave Chappelle sues. Judge loses it. Bam Margera facing. Dave Chappelle responds. Celebrities defended. The verbs are a common pattern that you should have recognized if you were analyzing a channel like this. And again, this doesn't only apply for celebrity channels. This can work for any type of channel in which the verb, so Logan Paul humbled, the verb really sticks out. It's just instead of thinking of thumbnails and titles from scratch, the point of this video is to try and give you patterns that are proven to work so that you at least have a basis. I'm not saying every single video should be titled with a verb, because sometimes even my titles don't have verbs. But if you're lost, don't know where to begin, simply just follow this criteria. Okay, two opposing sides, use a verb, have it provoke emotion or interest. I recommend capitalizing at least one word, usually the verb, or whatever you think stands out the most. Capitalizing only one word, because YouTube actually has guidelines in which if you capitalize multiple words, it's considered quote unquote loud. And that's actually against YouTube's terms of service. So only capitalize just one word. And then in addition, make sure that the characters are less than 70 characters, or the title is less than 70 characters long. And the reason we want for that is because you want your entire title, you want your entire title to show up on mobile. And if it's too long, it gets cut off. So just make sure your title is less than 70 characters. But just to reiterate, use single scene thumbnails, split screen thumbnails. Okay, test it out. I already showed you earlier in this video how to brighten contrast, make videos pop out more. And in addition to that, title your videos like this if you're completely lost. And again, this doesn't only apply for the celebrity niche. This applies for any niche that you're in on YouTube: tech, MMA, boxing, anime, luxury, celebrities, TV shows, movies, health. It really works for any niche. But with that being said, that's all I have for this video, everyone. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Ask anything you want, comment down any questions, concerns that you have. To be more than happy to help you. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.